We could screencast it afterwards. But anyways, we're going to do a 15-minute warm-up. We are going to do a forward shoulder roll. We'll be looking at the forward shoulder roll sequence today. Be looking at an internal seated straddle roll and then maybe some half flop stuff if we can get to it to the end, because that makes like some really cool dynamic power-y kind of stuff, which is usually fun. But if not, there might be a day, maybe next week I need to plan on it, where we can do more of like an intermediate advanced kind of floor work session day, where you can just work on some like more challenging, harder stuff, because, you know, that's kind of the fun stuff. Okay, anyways, so let's warm up. Yeah, no background music on my end because I like to talk and be able to hear me, but if you want to play some music on your end, you can. Anyways, let's get the party started here. On our mats, feet a little bit wider than the hips, and then just starting with a little rock to the right and to the left, feeling the inner and outer blade of the foot, and then shaking out the spine as you start to loosen up. My pants look really green on the screen from over here. Yeah, and then from here, roll it around into a circle. Feel all four sides of the feet. Maybe the heels and toes will lift. Maybe you wiggle your toes out as you roll back. Just waking things up. And then you could just add the hips up in here too. Whatever's feeling good. Other direction. Woo. Coming around. Yep. And then coming back to center. Nice and slow with the arms reaching up. Little arch back. Folding over. Scoop at the bottom. Back up to the top. Arch. Fold and scoop. Two more. Last one. Boom. Pausing at the top. Drop the arms. Shoulder circles to the back. Rolling it out. Could be big circles. Could be small ones. Whatever you need. 3, 2, 1. To the front. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center. Into the ribs. Chest forward. Arch back. Ribs back and round. Front and arch. Back and round. 3, 2, last one, and back to center. Keeping the chest steady, slide the ribs to the right, to the left, from side to side. 3, 2, last one. Back to center. Take the chest, popping it out, and take a rib circle, whatever direction you want to go. Last one. Other way. Rolling out the ribs. All the way back around. Last full one. Back to center. Down into the pelvis. Tucking it forward. Tilting it back. Tuck and tilt. Front and back. 4, 3, 2. Last one. Stay low. Push your hips to the right. Straighten through the left leg. Down to the other side. Side to side. Straight leg. Try to lock it out each time. So you shift in the hip from side to side. 2 more. Last one. Back to center. Yeah, from your arch, melt it forward. Forward fold. Straighten out the legs. Dangle, swivel, swing, whatever feels good to you. Maybe shifting the hips side to side, loosening up the hamstrings. Maybe you're grabbing the elbows and swinging, whatever. And then slowing this down. Walk your hands over to the left side, left ankle, right hand, left arm in the air for a twist. Shift some energy back forward into the toes. Try to twist just a little more deeper, nothing too crazy. Yeah, rolling out the wrist. 4, 3, 2. Roll the wrist other direction. 4, 3, 2. Pausing here, twisting deeper now. Try to reach back, bringing it down. Other side, right ankle, left hand, right arm in the air for a twist. Find your balance, shift forward a little bit, twist a little bit more. Rolling the wrist. 4, 3, 2. Other direction. 4, 3, 2. Pausing here, twisting deeper, bringing it down. Hands are on the mat in front of you, arms straight and locked out, looking forward the entire time. Getting ready to squat the booty to the floor nice and slow. Here we go, and down, and up. 4, 3, 2, last full one, and pause. From here, soften the knees, tucking the pelvis, rolling up, push the pelvis forward, roll through the spine, and then arch, melt it back forward. Tucking the pelvis, rolling up. Arch and melting it back down. 2 more. Last full one. Meet me at the top here. Pause, nice deep inhale in. Exhale out. And we reverse. Head, chin, chest, dive. Straight legs, head first. Chin, chest, dive. Straight legs, head up. 2 more. Last full one. Pausing at the top. Shifting the hips left and right, getting ready for side lunges from side to side, facing forward. I'm going to the right first. Whatever side works for you, from side to side, with arms. 3, 2, last full one. Coming back to the right side, whatever side. Right side, side lunge. Right foot nice and flat, and then maybe dropping a little bit lower. If you can't get the foot flat, you're propping yourself up with blocks. Maybe you're leaning forward a little bit, but if your heel's off the ground, you need to figure out how to get the heel down. Where is that spot for you? Turning to the right, runner's lunge, rocking it out. And then step the back foot up halfway. Triangle pose, fold, relax, square off the hips. Trying to get the front leg straight and locked out, and then maybe you can squeeze the quad to get the micro bend out and get the leg a little bit straighter. And then rocking it out, pushing off the back foot, point, rock back, flex the front. Point, and flex. 3, 2, last full one, point, flex, step it back, runner's lunge, hands on the inside of the front leg, turning back to the front, other side, there we go, left foot nice and flat, same deal, figuring out where you need to be in order to have a flat foot and propping yourself up, okay? Turning to the left, lunging over here, rocking it out. Slowing down the rock. Step the foot up halfway, triangle pose over here, folding over the front leg, getting it straight and locked out. Squeezing the quad, trying to get the leg just a little bit straighter. And then rocking it out, pushing off the back foot, point, rocking back, flex the front. Point, and flex. 3, 2, last full one. And then stepping it back, runner's lunge. Once again, hands on the inside of the front leg, turning back to the front, coming back to the center, readjust. Yeah, nice deep grand plie, chest lifted, no hands if you can. Maybe just a little bit deeper. Yeah. I went for a run yesterday. It was finally 70 degrees, 65. It was like spring for a day, and then now we're back to 3 days of rain. Arms down on the forearms here. Turning to the left, pushing open the right. Other direction. And back to center. Hands are down on the mat in front of you. Up onto the balls of the feet. Push, push, point, point. Take a breath. Release the heels back down. Take that breath. Inhale. One more time. Up onto the balls of the feet. Push, push, point, point. Really squeeze and engage the legs and the feet. Try to take your hands off the ground and balance. Maybe you could stand up. Woo! Oh, yeah, did it. Nice. Arms out to the side. Parallel the feet. One more forward fold. Shift the hips left and right. From here, walking the hands back forward off of the mat, feet back into a down dog. Just pedal out the legs here, loosen things up. From here, shifting forward, top of plank, shoulders are over the wrists. If you need to drop to your knees, you can. Otherwise, you're in a full plank if you got one. Pushing back, down dog. One more time, shifting forward, top of plank, One breath here. Lowering the pelvis, up dog. Thighs are off of the ground. Arms are nice and strong. Open the feet up a little bit wider than the hips. Turning the hips to the right. Push it up and over. Up dog, down dog swivels. 3 to the right. Looking forward in your up dog. Looking between your legs in your down dog. For 2. One more for 1. And 3. Going back the other direction. 3 to the left. For 1. 2. Last full one, meeting me back in down dog. Last time, shifting forward to plank. 1 breath here. Lowering the pelvis towards the ground, up dog, 1 breath. And then release the pelvis the rest of the way. Comfortable cobra of choice, wherever you want it or need it in the back, as long as the pelvis is connected to the ground. And then release down just a little bit lower. Okay, boom. I can see my phone's just a hair low. Hold on while I turn it down. Boom, look at that. Boy, you should got it. Okay, from here, yeah, we're gonna work on our little cobra rolls, okay? So you're gonna lift your chest mildly, okay? The belly button could still be touching, and I actually recommend it, okay? From here, squeezing the legs behind you, nice and straight. Bend the right leg. Say hello to yourself in the mirror or a screen if you have one in front of you. Keep the hands where they are. Try to bring the right foot across and behind you while you're still looking forward. If you can get the foot to touch the ground, great. If not, no big deal. Bottom leg is straight and engaged, pushing forward with the pelvis, rolling through the pelvis, top of the thigh, knee, shin, and then foot. So we're making a nice scorpion tail each time. Left foot across, behind. Bottom leg straight and engaged, pushing forward through the pelvis, rolling through the pelvis, top of the thigh, knee, shin, foot. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what it looks like. We're still going to do it, yeah? So we're still in our comfortable cobra, bending the right leg. I'm taking it across and behind. Bottom leg straight and engaged, pushing forward through the pelvis, rolling through the pelvis, top of the thigh, knee, shin, foot. 1 more, other side, left leg bends up, reaches across and behind, bottom leg straight and engaged, push forward through the pelvis, rolling through the pelvis, top of the thigh, knee, shin, and foot. There we go. Good. From here, open up the legs a little bit wider than the hips, pushing back into a tabletop. Pivot the right leg, continue sitting back, and then coming back onto the mat for abs. We are going to do liquid abs today because we're going to need these. If you're new or not familiar with liquid abs, it's more than just constant crunches going back and up. We're still thinking about pelvic initiation to bring us down and back or up and forward. So what does that mean? It means that we're going to be sitting upright. Okay, you can have your feet flexed or pointed, it doesn't really matter, but you do want the heels making some good contact so you don't fall back. When we decide to go back, we're going to think about tucking the pelvis first. It starts to round the spine, and then we start to go back. We're going to go back as far as we can right before you start to lose the contact with the heels. Now when we go forward, we're not going to stay in this rounded shape and continue moving forward. What we want to think about is tilting the pelvis, letting that roll through the spine, and then we move forward, okay? So we're looking at using our abs while they're elongated to bring us forward instead of staying in this contraction all the time, right? This is like when you're trying to take a picture, like a selfie at the beach or the river or whatever, right? When you're standing up and contracting, okay? So here we go. Both arms are going to be out in front of you. We're sitting up nice and tall for first one right here. Think about tucking the pelvis. The spine starts to round, and then naturally we start to go back as far as we can. As we start to go back forward, think about tilting the pelvis first. It rolls through the spine, and then we continue moving back to where we started. Once again, tucking the pelvis down and back. Tilt, and forward, and down, and up. For 3. Up. 2. Up. Last full one. And up. Push forward. Pause. From here, once more, we're going to go halfway back and pause and hold. Tucking the pelvis, rolling back. We're holding right here. And then take the rear arm and up and front. Back and front. 5, 4, 3, 2, last full one. Pause, release, engage the abs, rolling back as slowly as you can, one vertebrae at a time as you release all the way back to the mat. Couple breaths here. Recenter yourself on the mat if you need to. You're going into a plow here shortly. Taking a couple breaths, yes. Squeeze the ankles together, hands are on the mat next to your hips, tucking the pelvis, peeling the knees in towards your chest, and back into a plow of choice. Hands underneath the hips for support if you need it. Feet are on the ground if you can get it. If you can't get 2 feet, you're working on 1. If you can't get any feet, you're working on getting 1 foot. So you might have your knees bent as you work on getting all of the weight stacked in your shoulders, keeping it stacked over the shoulders, driving the elbows to keep you propped up. Maybe you're just kicking overhead, doing little toe taps until the hamstrings start to loosen up. Maybe you're in a straddle position with flexed feet and you just teeter-totter from the front to the back. And then eventually you're able to get both of them. Maybe you can point the feet and then you close it up. So there is a progression there, but you got to practice it because plows don't happen overnight. And then from here, hands go straight down behind you, rolling down through the back, 1 vertebrae at a time. When the pelvis hits, it tilts, and then you sit up. Reach forward like you're going to touch your toes. Put your hands to one side of your ankles, roll to the same hip, and then swivel around to your belly. And then pushing back into a child's pose. 2 breaths here. Booty on the heels, knees as wide as the mat, arms and hands out in front of you, just settling in and relaxing. And then from here, shifting forward into a tabletop, shoulders over the wrists, hips are over the knees. Simple cat and cow. Yes, think about tilting the pelvis, it rolls through the spine and then the head lifts last. Tucking the pelvis, the spine rounds and the head drops last. Tilting and tucking at your own pace. Initiating from the pelvis and out through the spine. And then taking it on a rotation, rolling cat and cow, whatever direction you want. Still using the pelvis to initiate and out through the head. Other direction. And then coming back to center. From here, tucking the toes, booty straight up. Down dog, almost there. Take the right leg straight behind you, square hips, leg, foot pointed or flexed, your choice. Bending at the knee, driving the heel towards the ceiling. Opening up, stacking the hips, reaching back with the foot. Bring the foot right back down, pausing here. Reset, pedal out the legs. Left leg goes straight behind you, square hips, foot pointed or flexed, your choice. Bending at the knee, driving the heel towards the ceiling. Opening up, stacking the hips, reaching back with the foot. Bringing the foot back down. Opening the feet up as wide as the mat. Shifting forward into a plank, dropping the knees, pivot the front leg underneath, sit back. We're going to do a light straddle stretch and then we're done. So whatever straddle stretch works for you. I just like to see here, I like my feet flexed, and I like to flex the flex the thigh a couple times to try and get the heels off. Boom, and then I relax. And then if you want to point your legs, you can. Just rolling it out, opening up your straddle, pancake, whatever it is you want. We will be having some straddle action going on the second part. So you can roll it out, rock it out. Maybe you want to lay all the way down. Choice is yours, and yours alone. I need to do more stretching. When Corona started, I was like we're gonna get the fucking splits in 2 to 4 weeks because that's quarantine. I haven't done shit. Not one day of, I lie, I probably did 2 or 3 days of stretch classes, but I haven't been like, must get the split. Yeah? It's more like I'm getting a beer belly, all the wine and booze. Yeah? And then walking it back up, shake out the legs, boom, bring them in here. Hands are behind you, bending the knees, bringing yourself up here. Take the right leg, bring it in towards you. Other leg sweeps across. Turn in that same direction. Put your hands down, pivot on the balls of the feet, standing up. Grab your mat and roll up with it. So, put the mats away. Okay. There we go. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tilt this down just a little bit. I think the GoPro is still going. Yeah, the GoPro hasn't failed me yet. Apparently it likes recording longer classes in 1080 instead of 2K or 4K. And I'm going to tilt this down some as well. Okay. Yeah, that should be pretty good right there. If it's not, just holler at me and let me know. Okay, so we are going to start with a liquid forward roll sequence first. Also, just a reminder that Instagram is going to kick us off around the 45-minute mark or so. So we'll have to restart and then log back on. But fear not, all of that is on the will be on the Liquid Instagram for 24 hours. And then I am recording this and all the classes that I've done and recorded the entire time we've been in Corona quarantine is on my YouTube, AccroBrandon, AccroBrandon, so everything can always be found there for replays and all of that good stuff. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the forward roll sequence. Okay, the entire thing, we are going to break it down, so we'll just start right at the top and then we'll put everything together. Okay, so we're going to start with a forward shoulder roll first. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that from a couple different angles and then I'll break it down. We'll all do it together. And if you have any questions, let me know, okay? It is important that you follow the steps because sometimes if you're new to rolling, I don't know who's out there. We got about 20 people watching right now. I don't know if you're like veterans or just getting into it. The biggest fear most people have when they're learning a forward roll is they don't want to like crick their neck or jack their things up, okay? So when we do a forward roll, it's a forward shoulder roll. We are rolling over our shoulder. Forward shoulder roll. If you were to roll over your head forward, that would be called a somersault. Okay, so we want to use the one shoulder. So this is what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to do it head on. I'll do it from almost all 4 angles. Yeah, boom. Okay, there's one. There's 2. I'll do it facing away so you can kind of get so you can get the rear view. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Here we go. Boom. Da. 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 Okay. So forward shoulder roll. There's a lot of things happening. I'll break it down for you, and then we'll talk about it, and I'll cue you through it, especially if this is new for you, okay? So when we first start doing our forward shoulder rolls, this is just our teaching cue. We start by standing up here on our knees, okay? I like going over my right side, okay? It's my power side, it's my good side. So I'm gonna start here. My hips are stacked over the right knee, my left leg's out to the side like a T. Both of my arms are going to go out to the side like a T as well. And then as I start to sit my booty back on my heel, then I can start to fold forward and bring my shoulder to the ground. If I'm on the right knee, I'm going over the right shoulder, okay? So as I start to bring the shoulder to the ground, then I'm going to externally rotate that same hand, tucking your chin into your chest like you're trying to check out your crotch, yes? And then as I keep the shoulder here, I'm going to push the hips forward and above and past the knee, and I'm able to tuck my chin even more. As I get ready to go forward, I'm going to use this bent leg, and I'll do it backwards for you one more time too. I'm going to extend the leg and push myself forward, okay? And then I sweep my hands behind me, and I roll forward, and I come back up, okay? I'll do that one more time rolling away from you from the breakdown so you can kind of see what's happening on the back side, okay? So, once again, that looks good. Right knee, left leg out to the side to a T, Arms are out to the side like a T. I sit my booty back. I start to fold forward. I put my hands. If I can't get my shoulder to the ground, I can shift the energy forward a little bit, and now my shoulder is touching, okay? Right hand externally rotates, roll the shoulder does, yes. And now I'm gonna continue tucking my chin in as I bring my hips forward. Right now my hips are actually in front of my knee, okay? This means I'm ready to roll. As I get ready to roll, I'm going to extend this leg. Keep the foot where it is so it doesn't slide backwards, okay? It's like that doesn't give you any forward propulsion. I extend the leg, it pushes me forward, I close up the legs, I sweep the hands behind me, and then I start to roll out, and then I come back out, okay? So that's the liquid shoulder roll forward, okay? So we want to talk about a few different things that are happening there just to make sure we're all on the same page, and then I'll start to cue you through it, okay? And I'll do it a couple of different directions while I'm talking you through it, okay? One, right, we already talked about this. Make sure the weight is stacked over the knee nice. Left leg is out to the side like a T, sitting back so you can fold forward, okay? Because if you don't counterbalance and push the booty back while the chest is trying to go forward, you end up doing a face plant, right? So imagine if you were just upright like this and I started to fall forward, right? If I lean forward, I would fall forward. So the booty goes back so I can bend forward. Arms are going to be out to the side like a T. So in liquid, we don't do a chicken wing. None of this bent arm stuff, okay? So nothing that looks like this. Nothing here, because that tends to push you. What I want you to think about is that your arms are out to the side like a T, and these are like training wheels for you, right? So when you've had training wheels on a bike, right, you try to stay fairly balanced in the middle on the tires, but if you start to fall to one side, the training wheel catches you and like you know how you need to push back, right? So that's why the arms stay out to the side, okay? As soon as you start to get over here, you start to fall this way, or you start to fall over here, and you push too hard and you go the other direction, okay? So we're here, yes, our hips are stacked, we're pushing the booty back, arms are out to the side like a T, I'm trying to get that right shoulder to the ground because I'm on the right knee. The shoulder externally rotates, so the rear arm is doing something like this. It's rolling in the direction I'm about to go. Yes, I'm tucking my chin underneath me, and as I start to shift the weight forward, yes, then I can get all the way on my shoulders. I use that bent leg to propel me forward, and then from here, look where my arms out. They're still out to the side like a T, okay? You need to sweep them behind you in the direction you want to finish, and then roll out, okay? And the reason you want to sweep the arms in the direction you want to go, it's going to help align the spine and pull you in that direction, okay? The body follows the hands and in that direction, okay? So I'm going to show you one last time just so you can really see what's happening with the arms because it is important. It often gets overlooked, okay? So we get to this position right here. We're right here. I tuck my chin. I shift the energy forward. And if you notice, I'm really facing off to this direction, not towards the camera, right? That's because I'm rolling over my shoulder. I'm rolling not perfectly straight because that would be a somersault, right? So as I come through here, right, I'm in this position, right? I start to come forward, and as I roll, I correct my line, and then I point my fingers in the direction I want to go, and my legs and body will roll in that direction, okay? So let's give it a try. I'll cue you through it, okay? You can I'll do part of it with you to start, but once you fold over and start looking between your legs, you're not going to see me anyway, so you're going to have to listen. But I'll do the first half. I'll cue you through it. I'll cue you through all of it, and I'll mock the first half, yes? So we'll start on the right side, right knee, left leg out to the side like a T, arms are out to the side like a T, sitting back on the heel, folding forward, hands are on the ground, bring the right shoulder to the ground, externally rotate the arm, tucking your chin under, yes? And then start to shift the energy forward. The hips should be just over the knees or just past it. You're about to roll. Think about extending that bent leg to push you forward, basically into your plow. Sweep the hands behind you like railroad tracks, and then continue rolling back out. Okay? So, I'm going to imagine that went just okay, but if you have any questions, you can type them in. Let's do the left side, okay, for good measure. Yes? We're going to do the left side. Right leg is out to the side like a T. Arms are out to the side like a T, sitting back. Bringing the hands to the ground first. Left shoulder to the ground. Externally rotate the arm. Boom. Yes, tuck your chin. Bring the energy forward. Straighten the bent leg to push you forward. Sweep the arms behind you. Rolling out. forward shoulder roll, okay? So try this a couple times. If you have any questions, let me know. If it's going good, give me some thumbs up. We'll see how that's working and working on that, okay? Now, when I say to bring the hands in front, like straighten them out, be like, I want to go that way, right? People do that, but they forget. It's like almost after the fact. It's like push, roll, oh fuck, the arms, okay? So if you think about it, the body follows where the arms are pointing, okay? So as you forward roll, right, our arms are out to the side like a T, and maybe as you start to initiate the roll, you get like a slightly tighter V, but it's not very parallel. So when the arms are nice and wide like this, there's a large margin of error. It means your body could actually roll anywhere in between these points. So if you're wondering like, why am I roll? I'm almost straight and then I end up going a little to the right or a little to the left. Most likely it's because the arms are too wide, right? And you have like this big, I don't know if you want to call it like a little radar area that you could be rolling in instead of tightening it up, yeah? It's like going to the bowling alley and they put the little bumpers up for you, right? All you got to do is just roll it right up the middle. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It continues going straight up the middle, yeah? Cool. Okay. So hopefully that's going good. Okay, so that's the first part, is the forward shoulder roll, okay? Then we need the part where we actually come up to a sitting position, okay? So for some of you, it might be review. For some of you, it might be new, okay? So we're rolling through, okay? We're doing a forward shoulder roll, okay? The shoulder roll passes through a plow shape, and then when we sit up, it's called the basic arch to seated, okay? So the second part, we come here, we're up here, or boom. We did our plow, and we're actually in a rolling position at this point in time, and as we continue forward, basic arch to seated, and we sit up, okay? So the basic arch to seated, yes? What we want to do is we're going to come back. We could do a plow. You don't have to do a plow, but the further back you can get, the better. And hopefully you can do some kind of a plow for a hot second because we're doing a full shoulder. You can never say this really quick. A shoulder roll forward, yes? So if you're new to this, okay, what we like to talk about, or for me, I like to talk about the wide hip pitch because I think that's a really good precursor, or the basic arch, right? We have this shape right here, which is called our basic arch, where we're all the way tilted, right? You tilt the pelvis, it rolls through the spine, it lifts the chest, and then it leaves you on the top of your head. And then if you were to reverse it, you would tuck the pelvis first, and you would roll back down, okay? With the wide hip pitch, what we look at is if our legs are 90 degrees for the most part, yes. I have some slight micro bends in my legs, so it actually helps if you have really tight hamstrings like I do. Little micro bends, it looks good with the feet, but it's hard because if you were to have two straight legs, maybe you couldn't even get them straight over you. You'd be like out here. So this is a nice little compromise that the knees at least are stacked over the hips, okay? Your hands are by your side. I'm going to put them out to the side just so you can see my lower back. But if you were to lower the legs without letting them move within the hip socket, okay? So now it's fused right here. It's fused in the hip socket. You start to get some leverage. And as I start to lower the legs, it starts to bring me into a little bit of an arch of the lower back. Hopefully you can see that, yeah? And if I were to lower the legs even more, it would continue to pull me into this. And if I tuck the pelvis, it brings me all back down, right? So we want to understand this leverage of lowering the legs and letting it pull you into an arch and then back, okay? Now the technical wide hip pitch, which I guess if you want to play with since we're here, is we start to lower the legs down nice and slow, like say for an 8 count. And as you start to get halfway there, which would be after 4, yes, you start to lower and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The legs start to open, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you end up in this shape right here, okay? But what's important here, understanding the leverage of the legs pulls you into a full arch, okay? So try that 1 or 2 more times, yes? Knees at 90 degrees, or the legs 90 degrees in the pelvis. Boom, you start to lower everything. It pulls you up, and you're here, okay? Now, when we go for the basic arch to seated, what we want to do is we want to sit up in this basic arch the entire time while maintaining the basic arch the entire time, okay? So we did the liquid abs, remember? And when we rolled up, we're not doing this, okay? Okay, this is the common response. We sit up and we're like, oh, I'm gonna roll down real sexy. Okay, here, let me sit up, right? Garbage. Now that you know, we don't ever get to do that again, okay? If you don't know better, I'm telling you better, okay? So we don't want to tuck, okay? Because if you know anything about liquid, or maybe you don't, when you tuck the pelvis, it's a down and back action. And when you tilt the pelvis, it's an up and forward action, okay? Just like with the abs, we roll down here, but as we decided to come forward and up, we had to tilt, roll through the spine, and then move forward. So when we do this basic arch to seated, now we're really starting to use that tilt and hold it the entire way, okay? So it looks like this. The entire time, okay? And you want to maintain this arch the entire time, okay? Typically what happens is you get halfway here and you're like, oh, I'm here. And you tuck your chin, and then that makes everything round again and brings you back down the opposite direction, okay? So we're going to look at a couple things. We're going to do it together. You're going to keep your hands by your side, okay? Both of them. Little railroad tracks, okay? Because I know typically people, they have the arms out to the side and they're like, oh, I'm a sexy goddess, right? And you're bringing the arms and you're leading with the chest, but the arms will hold you back like an anchor, okay? So we're going to try it a few times. And we're going to try it slower. So the nice thing here is with these arms, okay, even though the arms are by your side, if you pull with the hands like this, even though they're not going to move, it can help pull you forward. So if I was to use the hands to be like, you see how I just pulled through the hands and the forearms to slide me forward? So as you sit up, that will help you sit up, okay? So let's give it a try, okay? We'll start from a plow. If you can't do a plow, you can just do the 90-degree bend, okay? The plow is nice. It'll give you a little more energy. But we always want to come back to using our core strength and not momentum, okay? I'll give you a free pass. We can use a little bit of momentum in the beginning to try and figure things out, but we need to have control, not momentum, okay? Here we go. So we're back. We're in our plow. Hands are straight behind us and on the ground, okay? Here we go. We start to roll down through the back, one vertebrae at a time. When the pelvis hits, it tilts, and then you roll up, okay? Again, I'll do it from a, let me see, what do I do? I'm going to do it away from you so you can see what I'm doing if you're just watching, okay? So once again, we're here, we're in our plow, hands are behind me, nice and straight, rolling down through the back, one vertebrae at a time, pelvis hits, it tilts, and then you sit up, okay? I'm going to do it again facing forward. If you need to do it a couple more times, if you have any questions, let me know, or you can throw some thumbs up, all of that great stuff. The last thing you need to see is the ceiling. So once you sat all the way up and you're like, I'm done, then you can drop your chin and look forward, okay? So a couple more times, rolling down, one vertebrae at a time, pelvis hits, you tilt, you sit up, you're facing forward. If you think you're starting to get it, I highly recommend recording yourself because that's a good way to tell if you're actually doing it. It's really hard to watch yourself in the mirror, but practicing it a few times. Now try to slow it down a few times. This is where you're really going to understand the core. Because if you do it too slow, yeah, or you're not engaging the core enough, you're going to get stuck. And your knee-jerk reactions be like, and lead with the head. Just go back and restart. So here's me doing it really slow. I might fail. I don't know. Da, 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 da. Right there, you see me shaking? But I stuck it out, okay? From here, I started to like bloat a little bit. I should squeeze down a little bit more. Pulling with a little bit more of the arms. Maybe I should do more liquid abs. I don't know, probably. Yes, especially after being in quarantine for 6 weeks and all the alcohol I'm drinking. Yes. Okay, a couple more times. Nice and slow, or whatever you're working on. Good. Okay. So let me know how that's going. Okay, let me see where we're at on our time. All the good stuff. GoPro still working. So let's keep going. We're doing good. We got like another 30 minutes left. Yeah? Okay, so now we've done the sit-up part. Okay? And the parts alone are not that difficult to do independently. It's when we come back and we start to put everything together into the whole flow that the wheels start to fall off real quick. Okay? Cool. So after we sit up, okay, we're going to do our belly swivel. Okay, we breezed over this earlier, but it looks like this. Okay, we'll do it a couple times to the front, and then I'll do it once in each direction. Boom. Boom. maybe one more time from this side. And then you can't say that you didn't see it from all angles. Yep. Boom. Boom. Okay? So we're going to be looking at our belly swivel. Okay? So the belly swivel, okay, looks just like what we did here. Okay? If I'm facing forward, okay, I'm going to have one knee bent, okay, one leg straight, okay. The bent leg will help release the hamstring so you can fold forward even more. And two, we're going to go to the straight leg side, right, because it doesn't make sense to try and reach over a bent knee, okay. I'm going to reach my hands forward and place them next to my ankle, okay. If you can't get all the way up to the ankle, you could slide it back. It could be by the shin or maybe by the knee, that's okay. But if you're like, ankle, and you're way out here to the side, no bueno, okay? Remember, the body follows the hands, and I want to end facing forward, so I'm going to reach as far forward as I can, and then just put it to the side. So whatever that is for you, whether it's here, yeah, it's like your Cinderella scrubbing right next to yourself, okay? That's where the arms or the hands need to be, okay? From here, I'm going to shift to the same hip, and then I'm going to initiate with this top leg because it's in the way, sweeping it around behind me. The other leg follows nice and straight, and then we come through in our classic liquid rollout, or basically these little scorpion rolls that we had practiced, okay? So if we need a quick refresher on this, we're gonna do this really quick because we did it in the warm-up. But if you're one of the teachers or a liquid person, I always teach this little classic liquid rollout in almost all of my classes in the warm-up, no matter what I'm teaching any day, because this is a great way to like sprinkle in some liquid into your warm-up and prep people, and eventually they'll get it, especially if they're regulars, right? What is the classic liquid rollout? This is the second part of this belly swivel, so a good understanding of this is always helpful, yeah? The hands are in front of you, the chest is lifted. Not cobra, where there's all this space, but relax back, okay? You should be able to shake your ass to the left and right. You're rolling through the pelvis, okay? The hands are in front of you, the chest is lifted. You could have your forearms, but you're going to end up getting pinned down just a little bit more, so try to keep the forearms off of the ground. I don't care if your hands need to come back here. Maybe you just need a little micro bend in the arms. But get the chest up a little bit, but the belly button is still connected, yes? Legs are squeezed straight behind you, right leg bends behind you, and across and behind, bottom leg is straight and engaged. You roll through the pelvis, one pelvis, top of the thigh, knee, shin, foot. Let me turn sideways just so you can see this, yes? Right leg comes across, behind, bottom leg is straight and engaged, pushing forward through my pelvis, rolling through the pelvis, top of the thigh, knee, shin, and then foot right here, okay? So this is the second half of the move, okay? And this should get very comfortable for you because whenever you need to do some kind of rollout shape, whether it's a full belly swivel to the front or you're gonna turn into a 180 and come around, right? Whatever you do, straighten and lock out that leg, right? Because if your leg was bent like this, you couldn't actually roll over yourself because now you're creating like a block on yourself. The only option would be to go over the knee, right? As soon as you straighten the leg, it's like someone kicks the leg out from underneath you. Now let's talk about the sweep around, okay? So there's two things that are happening, yes? We need to shift to one side and sweep this leg behind me. Okay, so if you turn to the side, you sweep the leg behind you, you notice that eventually at some point you're going to hit your maximum range of motion in that flexibility part right there, right? Like, that's it. That's the part where the other leg starts to come along for the ride, okay? Not a second earlier, not at the same time. So don't be like this. Okay, I'm done. Shit, no. Okay, we can't do that anymore, okay? What we want is this energy from this bent leg, this initiation leg, to pull everything with it, okay? And sometimes what I'll do is a demo in class. Let me see. You don't need to see my face, okay? But imagine we were doing like some ballet stuff, you know, where they sweep their legs back to try and make everything like really nice and like get some range, okay? If you were to take this leg that you're sweeping back and you kick it back hard enough, okay, and you hit that maximum range of motion, your body will go with it. So here's an example. Okay, do you see I just slid back? I'm not trying to push myself back with the standing leg. It's the energy of the swinging leg that pulls the rest of the body with it when it hits that maximum range of motion, okay? And that's the same thing that we want with this initiating leg, okay? Then it becomes just a timing issue, okay? So here we are, we're folding forward, hands are next to the ankles, we shift to the hip so that we can swivel on the hip for a second. As I start to sweep this leg back, I'm gonna sweep it back, and once I can't go back any further, the range of motion, the other leg follows and stays straight and locked out. Classic liquid rollout. We know this part, okay? Once again, I'll reset. I'll do it from a few different sides. I want you to see it from the side a lot because of the view that we've got here. It's easier in person, okay? So once again, same thing. Right knee is up, left leg is straight, folding hat forward, hands are next to the ankles, shift to the same hip. My right leg is gonna start to sweep along and out the way. It pulls the other leg. Classic liquid rollout, okay? Let me try the other side. One more time, same side, and then we'll switch sides. And if there's any questions, let me know. You're definitely gonna have to record this one if this is new for you. Boom, and review later. Forward, hands to the left side of my ankle, roll to the left hip, sweep the right leg, left leg, stay straight, classic liquid rollout, okay? We'll do the left side a couple times, and then we can talk about it, okay? So now, right leg is straight, left leg is bent, folding forward, hands are by the ankle. I'm a little tighter on this side, but it's okay, so maybe I'll choke the hands back a little bit. Roll to the right hip, sweep the left leg, classic liquid rollout, okay? If this is going good, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. If there's any questions, let me know if there's any questions. Typically, where things go wrong in this move is one of two things, okay? It looks like this. You're like, okay, I'm ready to go. Here we go. And you're like, okay? You're forgetting which legs needs to stay straight and which leg needs to stay bent the entire time. It's dedicated, okay? Or you start like this and you're like, okay, I'm ready, Brandon. And you start to go and you're like, hey, how come I'm facing sideways? Okay, so like I said, the body is gonna follow the hands. So you need the hands to be facing forward. But like I also said, if you're really tight or you have limited flexibility, you might need to pull your hands back. But what that means is that now that your hands are gonna be closer to your chest when you do this pivot, you're gonna need to offset by sliding back a little bit to recreate the space that you don't get from folding forward. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're there. Now we can put everything together, okay? So now we're going to add all of the pieces together, yes? So we have our forward shoulder roll. We have our basic arch to seated, and then we have our belly swivel, and it all links together. So I'll show it to you really quick, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, I'm gonna move forward towards the camera, and then I will have to do a very small one side to side because I don't got as much width as I do. I don't got as much width as I got length. Okay, so here we are, right? Da, 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 da. Ba, 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 da, da. I feel like I'm getting close to the camera, yes? So you understand, okay? So let's play with this a few times, okay? And see what happens. So this is something that travels forward. Let me do it from the side one more time so you can kind of see what's happening, okay? After the belly swivel is a straight leg buttercup. We're not going to talk about that too much, but I'll give it to you really quick just in case, so that you do have it. Boom, 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 ba, ba, ba. Okay, so the straight leg buttercup is once you swivel around and you're on your belly, right? You're here. You're going to open up, shift back to one side. This puts you straight in your setup for your forward roll once again. Okay, so the straight leg buttercup, really, really quick. Okay, I'm just going to tell you about it. Okay, is while you're here on your belly, after you did your belly swivel, the legs open up into a mild straddle. You can see them behind me, yes? And I'm gonna shoot back to the right diagonal as the other leg comes out to the side. Okay, if you wanna learn more about this, go to one of my other videos on my YouTube channel because I definitely taught this a couple weeks ago, okay? And then you're set to go straight into the forward shoulder roll. Once we start the process, we're never gonna come back to here. You don't have to, right? This is just the first one to prep. Eventually we just go boom, right into the next one. Da, 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 da. Maybe I need to switch because I'm out of space, right? And then rolling from side to side, okay? So play with this a few times. Let me know if you have any questions, thumbs up, thumbs downs, all of that kind of stuff. But just playing with it, I'll put a little background music on. Yeah, I know certain spaces are tight, but we can make it happen, yes? And then we're gonna look at the next component. So just a little background music. Put this up here. Working on your forward shoulder roll sequence, yes? Trying to get everything to roll straight. Arms are behind you. Basic arch to seated. Fold over the straight leg. swivel, reset, boom, back into your forward shoulder roll. Once again, reset, basic arch to seated, boom, belly swivel, reset. Yeah. Let me know how that's going. We're going to move on here just a sec. We're doing pretty good on time. So, here's some things that to think about, or some things that are really nice, especially if you're in a tight space, okay? Is we talked about, right, the body will follow the hands, or wherever the hands go, the body follows, right? So if I reach forward, when I swivel, I end up facing forward. If I reach off to the side, I end up falling off to the side. So once you start to understand that, you can start to make movement corrections, kind of like what I just did if you weren't watching, right? So if I start to get towards the front here, and I'm running out of space, instead of like stopping and turning around, right? Especially if I'm just rolling at home without the camera on, well, for you guys at least, right? What could we do? We did something where we turned and did a 180, and then you can switch and go straight back the other direction, right? Boom, boom, boom. I could turn 90 degrees, right? And then coming back here. And then roll once again. And coming up like, oh shit, there's my radiator. Boom. Rolling back around, okay? Now, in the beginning, if you've noticed, maybe you haven't, yes, as we're rolling, I have one dedicated straight leg and one dedicated bent leg. And you need to get that up here to get locked in. Because what happens is we start here, yes, right leg bent, left leg straight, we do our forward shoulder roll, and as soon as we straighten, we start to forget, right? There could be a moment where I have two straight legs, and I don't remember what leg was bent when I take off. But I want to remember that the right leg was the bent leg, because that helps release the hamstring. So that way when I sit up, from my basic arch to seated, I'm already in the right position to go right into the belly swivel over this left leg, which is the straight leg. And that way, as I swivel around, if I keep the bent leg bent, I can go straight back into the forward roll. And this, it's like a bent leg, straight leg buttercup. So then you start to get this really cool, like, flary leg. Flare meaning like buttons of flare, not like flary, okay? So that way when you start to do different rolls or different crazy things, when I come over here, I'm like, boom, boom, right back into it. Duh, 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 right? Duh, duh, bent leg here. And then as you start to get better, then maybe you can start to switch and vary, put different variations on which legs are going to be like bent and straight. But start there, try to keep everything on one side only and one side first, because otherwise you start to bend and go back and forth and things start to get crazy, okay? So hopefully that's going good, yeah? We'll probably have time for like 1.5 little things left anyways, okay? So if you have any questions there, let me know. If not, we're gonna move on, okay? Ideally, you would have, at some point in time, you'll be able to take this back to the studio if you're a teacher or not, yeah, and take this along the floor in a really long floor drill across the floor there, yeah, so a floor drill, okay? So the next thing we're gonna look at an internal seated straddle roll, okay? This one's really nice for tight spaces like this because you're basically going nowhere, okay? If you've done liquid before and you haven't done the 2.0, this one's gonna fuck you up a little bit, because if you've done our seated straddle roll, which is a traveling roll, something that moves laterally for the most part when we teach it, but can totally do any direction you want. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. That is not what we're doing today, okay? So we have our seated straddle roll, right, where we move, laterally, boom, and we're constantly straddling. This is just a variation of it. Uh-oh, here we go. 30 seconds for Twitter to cut me off, okay? So we're gonna cut it here. We'll come back in 30 seconds, okay? Let me save this, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so seated straddle roll, okay? So what I just demoed really quick before this thing crapped out was we teach our seated straddle roll, okay, where we're doing things like this, which have windows and threading, right? And then we move to the left, we move to the right in our directions, right? We still have this windows and threading action where we need to keep our feet connected to the floor. Yes, we bring the one in. Whatever direction you wanted to go, you would bring that in close to the body so that the top leg can sweep across and clear it. And we're making a connection to the floor the entire time. We're never going to be moving like this with our feet off of the ground or something kind of crazy, okay? Or just like rolling to the side, okay? Unless we're making a specific style choice, okay? So if you're familiar with a regular straddle roll that we teach, like it's a 1.0 type of thing, this internal straddle roll will mess with your mind a little bit, okay? So let me show you what it looks like, and then we'll talk about breaking it down, okay? So I'm going to do it kind of crusty at first, and then we'll come back and I'll add on some like, ooh, to this part, yes? Okay, so, da 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 da. Other way. Okay? Internal seated straddle roll. Okay? So you're basically sitting in one spot. It's almost like a sit and spin. Yeah? One of my favorite toys as a kid. Yes? So we're going to try and stay within the same spot. Instead of traveling, we're pivoting around our own center, finally, for once, yes? And that's what's going to make this happen. So we're going to be looking at 4 directions, yes? Front, right, back, left, which is probably backwards because fucking selfie mode on Instagram is stupid, yes? And then we're going to look at how to add in an extra part, okay? So we're going to be turning 90 degrees every time, right? So if I'm facing you in a straddle, that's what this shape is. And when I'm facing 180 degrees, there's a straddle on that side. When I'm to the sides, my every 90 degree turn, it's Cobra-esque, okay? So how do we get there and what are we doing, okay? So as I start to turn 90 degrees, this is my left, but you can come to the same direction, it's probably right for you, okay? As I start to turn this direction, if you notice, if I were to roll through the pelvis and stack the hips, there's actually a little gap under here. You can see my hand right now, yeah? There's a little gap underneath me. That's the window that we're going to start threading things through, okay? Well, my top leg is here, so I'm going to thread the bottom leg under and back. And remember, the body follows the hands. So every time you move your hands, we want to be 90 degrees perfectly, because if you start to get off, you're going to be doing like weird rotations when all I need is 4 rotations out of you, okay? So if I'm going this direction, left for me, probably right for you, okay? I'm going to turn this direction and let the hips stack first. The bottom leg bends, and I'm going to initiate by pushing it backwards. And then I roll to my pelvis, okay? Boom, I'm here, I'm centered, the hands are right here. Now, I'm gonna roll my hips, my booty towards the front of the room. Keep the legs stacked. I'm gonna turn sideways so you can just see this view right here, okay? If I continue rolling in the same direction I was going and I stack the hips, once again, I have a little gap you can see underneath, yes? So I need to unwind this cobra and take the bottom leg underneath as the top leg opens, and then I'm gonna sit up, okay? So we'll try this together. I know this one's a little bit wonky. I'll do it from 2 different directions as we go around. You just go look over your shoulder, okay? And if you have a really good straddle, dial it back 10 or 15%, okay? It's gonna be a lot easier to get through this first without trying to like push the limits. Yeah, just a nice comfortable straddle, nothing crazy, okay? So I'm going this way, this is left to me, turning to the left, the hips start to stack. Bottom leg bends, pushes back, through, and I'm in this cobra shape. Yes? Roll your hips towards the front of the room and stack them. Okay? Bottom leg bends, comes underneath, and you should be looking towards the back of your room. You can't see me, you can only hear me. Turn once again 90 degrees in the same direction we were going. Put the hands, stack the hips, bottom leg bends, threads underneath you and goes back. Okay, final rotation. Roll the hips towards the back of the room this time. Bend the bottom leg, snake it underneath, open, and then sit up. Let's do it again, yes? Same direction, okay? Because if we go the other way, it's gonna really fuck things up. So once again, I'm going to the left. It might look like the right based on my hands, okay? Mild straddle, turning 90 degrees, stacking the hips. Bottom leg bends and pushes backwards in space. Roll through the pelvis, roll the hips towards the front of the room, stack the hips, bottom leg bends, opens, straddling, looking to the back of the room. Continue rotating the upper body in the same direction we have. Stack the hips, bottom leg, bends and threads underneath your body. Roll through the pelvis, roll the hips to the back of the room, bend the bottom knee, snake it under, open, straddle. Did it work? Okay. You're probably like, what the fuck is going on around here? Yeah. So, let me know. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs down, like, Don't worry, we're going to do it to the right. But if you have any questions, ask now before we go the other direction. Okay? And then we'll talk about putting it together and then adding the little special liquid sauce on. Right now, we're just trying to get through the motions, yes? Okay. We'll go the other direction, nice and slow, and then we're going to come back and add the special sauce, and then we'll talk about putting everything together, okay? So, I'm going to go this way, it's to my right, probably looks like your left, but that's the way I'm turning, 90 degrees, stack the hips, bottom leg bends, initiates underneath, roll through the pelvis, boom. Roll the hips towards the back, the front of the room, stacking the hips, bottom knee bends, comes under, straddle. Continue turning 90 degrees, once again, stacking the hips, bottom leg bends, threads underneath, pushes back, boom. Roll through the pelvis, hips towards the back of the room, bottom leg under, open, straddle. Okay, these are the basic components, okay? Very just simple, nothing super amazing about it, okay? So now, if this is working and you're like, oh, okay, this is starting to go good, now we can start to use the pelvis as we push through, okay? It looks like I'm diving through the chest, but really it's gonna be more of a pelvic initiation, okay? So when we start to like take it up another notch, right? I'm gonna start to move a little quicker, and as I start to stack the hips, this leg is already starting to bend, yes? Once this leg starts to bend, as I start to push through, yeah, it looks like I'm trying to dive, but I'm not, right? I'm folding over, yes, but what I really want is the pelvic initiation here where it's boom, that rolls through here and brings me up, yes? Boom, and then as I move towards the back, boom here, a tuck, open, yes, straddle. Sweeping to the other side, boom, down and up. It's a little more ribbon effect, I guess, is what it would say in the textbook, yes? As I come back here to the front, a little bit of a tuck, and then open. I could sweep back down, yes? It's almost like actually, even though I'm diving with the chest, it's the pelvic initiation that brings me up into the cobra, yes? Boom, roll, back, up. Here, down, and up. Back, up. Here, back, around. Go for it. Let me know how it's going, if it's going. Are you finding your four corners or four walls as you're rolling through this? Yes. You know, put a little background music, play on it. If you have a question, type it in. Yeah, and we'll talk about the last little bit. Come on, music. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna look at the last components here of putting it all together, okay? Because we have some common bits and pieces, and of course, if you already have a repertoire, you might have some different ways to go left and right depending on what it is that you want to do within the movement stuff, okay? So basically we did the forward shoulder roll sequence, which is packed full of stuff, right? You've got a forward shoulder roll, you have a basic arch to seated, you have your belly swivel, and then you have your straight leg buttercup if you want to add that into it. I mean, it is part of the reset, right? So for this, it depends on how you want to do it, right? You could be anywhere within this. So for me, the most common connection shape within this one is really going to be the Cobra-esque type of shape. So when I'm here, as I turn, I'm back, I'm here, boom. Maybe I'm going to set up for my forward roll here, and then I roll through, and I have my bit, I'm up, I can swivel, I'm leaving the studio here, right, boom, and then from here I can come back up, okay? Sorry, it's just a couple things today, yes? Or you could be rolling up, here, boom, pause. You could have a moment where if you wanted to open up into like a nice seated arch, right, you roll up. It could be super like crotchy too, right? You could come up, boom, then, open, right, pull, and then now you're going into your seated straddle roll, right? You take your internal street, I can't talk anymore. Internal straddle roll, boom, and then you're here, and you're back, and you're like, no, boom, and I'm rolling out, right? So where would these connections be, right? So basically, I mean, there's two things, right? There's your Cobra shape. The classic liquid rollout is almost like one of the best little connection shapes or connection moves that you could have. It's like, and there, but, like those types of words in your vocabulary, okay? So we're gonna do a quick little final freestyle with this last little thing. I want you to experiment with both pieces, yeah? So figure out where your components are coming from within the internal straddle roll, and then if you can break some of those chunks off, can some of those come back and link up to the forward shoulder roll sequence? So where can you make just a quick little variation and a change that's not too far off? Okay, so I'll put a little background music on, we'll do a final jam out, and then we'll wrap up. We'll talk about where all the stuff's going to be recorded if you joined late or anything else like that, yeah? So a little electronic music because I don't listen to enough music. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up there. Yes, thank you so much for coming to class. Hopefully you enjoyed. Smaller group today, but hopefully we'll see you guys all on the replay. Once again, a couple things. Free class, if you want to donate, I appreciate you. You could totally do that. Yeah, Here's my info for that. AccroBrandon on Venmo, ACCRO, or you could do PayPal, AccroBrandon@gmail. Like I said as well, if you're just looking for a cheap pair of knee pads and you didn't know already, if you go to the Liquid Motion website, we have the nude colored, whatever the fuck this is, right? These nude color ones, $20 shipped if you use the coupon code, whatever's left. And then if you're looking for a fun little show your liquid pride face mask, we have these for sale on the website as well. They're made from Bella Canvas. They're a nice t-shirt, sweatshirt material, 7 ounce. It's got the Liquid logo on it, so they're $8 a pop or 3 for $20. And there's a shipping discount in there as well. These actually are quite comfortable. They have a couple different sizes right here, so if you have kids or someone with a small face, the smaller cut right there works as well. Thanks again, In Motion Philly. Thanks for coming to all my classes and contributions and stuff like that. Like I said, this will be on the replay for 24 hours on the Liquid Motion Instagram. The GoPro's been recording.